The following morning, the crystal towers of Zarella shimmered under the light of the twin suns, but there was tension in the air. Word of Captain Joran's skills had spread through the palace, and the elite warriors had grown curious and wary. They respected his talent, but his methods were unlike anything they had ever trained for. Lysera stood on the balcony of her chamber, watching Joran move with precision in the training grounds below. Her fear had softened into cautious curiosity. She did not yet trust him fully, but she could no longer deny that he was extraordinary. Her mind, once filled with terrifying images of humans, was now alive with questions. "Princess Lysera," a voice called. It was Commander Ralith, the lead of the elite warriors. "You should join today's session. Captain Joran requests your presence." Lysera's heart skipped a beat. "My presence? Why would he?" "He wishes you to observe, perhaps even participate." Reluctantly, she followed Ralith down the stairways to the training grounds. The sun reflected off the crystalline walls, casting rainbow-like light across the ground. Joran was already there, standing in the center, calm and focused. The alien warriors formed a circle around him, their movements precise and disciplined. "Princess Lysera," Joran greeted her, bowing slightly. His voice was steady, warm. "Today you will join us, not as a bystander but as a participant. You will see firsthand how humans and Zyrellans can work together." Lysera hesitated. Her heart raced. She had trained lightly in palace exercises before, but never against someone like Joran. The thought of sparring with him, even in a controlled environment, filled her with fear. Joran noticed her hesitation. "Do not fear failure," he said. "Courage is not about winning. It is about trying, even when the outcome is uncertain." Taking a deep breath, Lysera nodded. She stepped into the circle. The training began with basic maneuvers, dodges, spins, and coordinated strikes. At first, she struggled to keep up with the speed and precision of the warriors. Her movements were clumsy, her balance uncertain. Joran observed quietly, guiding her with gentle corrections. "Move your weight this way," he instructed. "Anticipate, don't react. Feel the flow, not the strike." Lysera followed his advice, and slowly her movements became smoother. She noticed how he adapted to her style, not forcing her to mimic his every motion but blending human techniques with Zarellan ones. She realized then that humans were not only strong but creative. Their intelligence was not rigid. It flowed like water, finding solutions in the moment. Suddenly, alarms echoed across the palace. The twin suns' light flickered as massive energy streaks appeared in the skies. The swarm had arrived. Dozens of sentient energy beings, glowing like liquid fire, descended on the planet's atmosphere, spreading fear and chaos. The Council of Elders convened immediately. "This is the threat Captain Joran warned about," Thaler said gravely. "All hands prepare for defense." Lysera felt her heart race. She had seen danger only in stories and training simulations, but now it was real, overwhelming and immense. Joran moved among the warriors, issuing commands with calm authority. His strategies were precise and daring. "Divert their attention to the northern towers," he instructed. "I will take the southern perimeter. Follow my lead and stay coordinated." Lysera, unable to stand idly by, joined him. She was terrified, yet something inside pushed her forward. She moved with the warriors, following Joran's lead. His presence was grounding, his confidence contagious. The first wave of energy beings struck. Their forms were fluid, constantly shifting, hard to predict. They lashed out, attempting to disrupt the city's defenses. Alien shields shimmered and pulsed, but alone they would not hold. Joran's tactics, however, were different. He combined human ingenuity with alien technology, using traps, energy pulses, and coordinated strikes to channel the swarm away from civilians. Lysera observed him in awe. He moved with precision, but also with care. He was not reckless, as she had feared. Every action he took was calculated to protect life. She realized then that humans could be fierce, yes, but also compassionate, brave, and intelligent in ways that complemented alien strengths. As the battle raged, Lysera found herself facing a smaller swarm near the palace gardens. She froze, unsure of what to do. A tendril of energy approached, glowing and dangerous. Before she could react, Joran leapt beside her, deflecting the attack with a pulse from his device. "You are safe," he said firmly, "but you must move. Focus and trust yourself. I will guide you, but you must act." Heart-pounding, Lysera followed his instructions. She used the techniques he had taught her, dodging, striking, and channeling energy pulses through her hands. She felt a rush of power, of control, and then relief as the last of the small swarm dissipated. "You did well," Joran said, smiling. There was no pride, only encouragement. "See? Courage grows when fear is faced, not avoided." Lysera's fear began to melt away. She realized that her initial terror had blinded her to the human's true character. He was not a monster nor a threat. He was a protector, a teacher, and a warrior of rare skill. Meanwhile, the battle continued across the city. Joran coordinated teams combining human strategies and alien tactics. Alien shields amplified human energy pulses, and together they formed patterns that drove back the swarm. Buildings were protected, civilians evacuated, and slowly the tide began to turn. Lysera fought alongside him, moving with newfound confidence. She noticed how he respected the alien warrior's knowledge while introducing new methods. There was synergy in their teamwork, a blending of species, strengths, and ideas. She understood now why her father had trusted him. As the last wave of energy beings surged, Joran devised a bold plan. Using a combination of human technology and alien energy conduits, he aimed to create a containment field that could trap the swarm permanently. It was risky. Any miscalculation could release energy across the city, but it was their best chance. Lysera helped him, her hands steady as they channeled the energy. She felt the pulse of power flowing through her, a connection not only to the devices but to Joran himself. They were united in purpose, driven by courage, and focused on protecting their world. The containment field activated. A bright surge of light enveloped the swarm, and one by one the energy beings were drawn into it. A final flash, a hum of power, and the skies cleared. The threat was neutralized. The city fell silent. The citizens emerged from hiding, eyes wide in awe and gratitude. The elite warriors, exhausted but alive, gathered around Joran and Lysera. Commander Raelith stepped forward, bowing deeply. "Captain Joran," he said, "your tactics, your courage. You have saved us all. You have proven that humans are not only warriors but allies beyond measure." Lysera, her hand still trembling from the battle, stepped forward as well. She looked at Joran, her fear completely replaced by admiration. I was afraid," she admitted softly. "But I see now, humans can be brave, clever, and kind. You saved us." Joran smiled gently. "And you fought bravely too. Fear is natural, Princess, but courage is universal. Today we all learned that together we can face anything." King Thalor approached, his expression proud. "Captain Joran, you have proven yourself. You have earned the trust of our people, and the friendship of my daughter. Humans are welcome on Xyrella, not as strangers, but as allies." Lysera bowed her head respectfully. "Thank you, Father. And thank you, Joran. I am glad you are here." Joran extended his hand to her, not as a warrior to a princess, but as a friend and comrade. Lysera took it, feeling a warmth and understanding she had never known. The twin moons rose above the crystal towers, casting their gentle light over the palace. Lysera looked at the city below, the people safe, the skies clear, and she realized something profound. Fear had been replaced by courage, mistrust by understanding, and doubt by admiration. The human warrior, once a figure of terror in her mind, had become a symbol of hope. Not just for her, but for all of Xyrella. Together, humans and aliens had faced the galaxy's greatest threat, and together, they had triumphed. As the night deepened, Lysera and Joran stood side by side on the balcony, gazing at the stars. There was a sense of possibility in the air, a promise that the galaxy was vast, full of danger and wonder, but also full of friends and allies. Lysera smiled, her heart light. "I am glad you came," she said softly. Joran nodded. "And I am glad I stayed. The galaxy is full of challenges, Princess, but together, we can face them all." The future was uncertain, but one truth was clear. Humans, with their courage, ingenuity, and heart, had proven themselves. And Xyrella would never look at them the same way again. Above, the stars shone brighter, reflecting the bond forged between two worlds. A new era had begun, one of trust, courage, and unity across species. And in the heart of it all, the human warrior and the alien princess stood together, ready for whatever came next. The palace of Thalor rose high above the glowing forests of Xyrella, its towers sparkling like crystal under the twin suns. The alien city around it thrummed with quiet energy, soft lights floating in the streets as citizens moved about in graceful, silent patterns. Inside the tallest tower, King Thalor sat in his chamber, his long hands folded over a golden staff. His face, though stern, held a gentle concern as he listened to the urgent message that had arrived from the outer sectors. "It is a human," one of his aides whispered. "He comes alone, but he claims the galaxy faces a threat." King Thalor's eyes narrowed. Humans were unpredictable. Tales of their strength, cunning, and bravery had reached even the farthest edges of Zarella, but they were also feared. Stories spoke of humans surviving impossible odds, taking on enemies that would destroy even the strongest alien warriors. Yet for all their courage, they were different, wild, and sometimes reckless. Before Thalor could reply, a voice echoed through the chamber, trembling with fear. "Not him, Dad. I'm afraid of that human warrior." Princess Lysera stood behind the great doors, her hands pressed tightly together. Her silver blue eyes, wide with worry, glimmered under the chamber lights. She had overheard the messages about the human Captain Joran, and her imagination had filled in every detail. In her mind, he was a towering figure, savage and fearless, a creature who might not care about their rules, their traditions, or even their lives. "Lysera," King Thalor said gently, rising to his feet. "You must understand. This human is not here to fight us. He brings news. He brings a warning. We must hear him." Lysera shook her head. "But father, humans are dangerous. They do not follow our ways. What if he hurts someone?" King Thalor sighed and rested a hand on her shoulder. "I understand your fear, my daughter. But sometimes courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act despite it. You must trust that I will protect you." Reluctantly, Lysera stepped back, though her heart thudded in her chest. Outside the palace, in the glowing skyways, a human figure approached. Captain Joran moved with confidence, each step precise and controlled. His armor, sleek but worn from travel, reflected the light of the twin suns. Though he appeared calm, his eyes were alert, scanning the palace and its surroundings. He was aware of the legends surrounding humans, but he also knew that the task before him was greater than fear. The gates opened with a quiet hum, and he was escorted into the main chamber. Lysera's eyes widened as she saw him close up. He was tall, but not monstrously so, and his features were strong yet familiar in a way she could not explain. There was a gentleness to the curve of his jaw, the set of his shoulders, that contradicted the story she had heard. "I am Captain Joran of Earth," he said, bowing slightly. "I come to warn your people of a danger approaching your planet." The council of elders murmured among themselves, their long, slender fingers brushing over their robes. Humans, while brave, were known to exaggerate or act without caution. The king gestured for silence. "Explain," Thalor commanded. Joran straightened. "A swarm of energy beings, sentient and hostile, is moving through this sector of the galaxy. They consume worlds, stripping them of life and energy. They are drawn to planets with intelligent civilizations. Your planet is next." Gasps filled the chamber. The elders looked at each other, some fearful, some skeptical. Lysera's heart raced. She had never imagined a danger like this, one that could threaten everything she knew. The city, the forests, the people she loved. "Why should we trust a human?" one elder asked. "Your race is known for recklessness. We are careful. We have defenses. Why come here instead of staying in your own world?" Joran met their gaze steadily. "Because your defenses alone may not withstand them. But together, humans and Zarellans can find a solution. I did not come to conquer. I came to help." Lysera's fear twisted in her chest. He spoke calmly, almost kindly, but she could not shake the feeling of unease. I do not like him," she whispered to herself, but her curiosity fought with her fear. That night, as the palace slept under the soft glow of the twin moons, Lysera slipped into the gardens, seeking solitude. She thought of the human warrior, of the tales she had heard, and of the strange sense of both dread and fascination he inspired. She moved quietly among the glowing plants, listening to the soft hum of the city below. Suddenly, a roar echoed through the skyways. A rogue sky beast, its wings spread wide, descended upon the outer walls of the palace. Guards scrambled, drawing weapons, but the creature was swift and powerful. Lysera froze, terror rooting her in place. Then Joran appeared. He moved like a shadow, precise and fearless. With a calculated leap, he dodged the beast's claw, striking it with a device she had never seen before. A pulse of energy erupted, and the sky beast shrieked, retreating into the night. The palace guards stared in awe. Even the elders whispered among themselves. Lysera's fear faltered, replaced by a mixture of astonishment and confusion. She had seen bravery, undeniable and raw, but also controlled. The human warrior was dangerous, yes, but he protected them too. When the creature finally fled, Joran approached the palace gates, unscathed. He glanced at Lysera, who had hidden behind a glowing fern. She looked away quickly, cheeks burning. You saved them," she murmured, voice trembling. Joran gave a small nod, almost shyly. "It is what I do. But it is also what anyone should do when lives are at stake." The next morning, the council debated Joran's presence. Some feared that a human could not understand Zyrella's ways and traditions, while others saw the value in his unique methods. Lysera sat silently, her mind torn between fear and the undeniable proof of his courage. King Thalor finally spoke. "He will remain here, but not as a guest. He will train with our elite warriors. He will learn our ways, and we will see if we can trust him." Lysera's eyes widened. "Train with them? Father, he is dangerous." "I cannot." "You will not be alone," Thalor assured her. "And perhaps, Princess, you may learn something yourself, not only about humans, but about courage and about yourself." Reluctantly, Lysera agreed to observe the training sessions, though her heart still trembled. She watched from above as Joran began his lessons with the alien warriors. At first, his methods seemed reckless. He dodged and spun in ways the aliens considered unorthodox, used tactics they had never imagined. Some warriors frowned, some scowled, and some whispered among themselves. Yet, when a training exercise went wrong, a simulated ambush turning unexpectedly chaotic, Joran's instinct saved several warriors from what could have been serious injury. His strategies, though different, worked. Slowly, the murmurs of doubt began to fade. Lysera found herself observing him for hours, curiosity mingling with her fear. She began to notice his patience with the younger warriors, the way he explained tactics with clarity, the small gestures that showed he valued life, even alien life. At night, she would return to the gardens, thinking of the human warrior. Her fear had not vanished, but it had shifted. She was still cautious, still unsure, but she could no longer dismiss him as merely dangerous. There was something extraordinary about him, something that defied the stories she had grown up hearing. One evening, as she watched Joran spar with the lead alien warrior, a spark of admiration lit her eyes. He moved not only with skill but with respect, adapting to the alien style without arrogance. He was human, yes, but he was more than the legends. He was capable of bravery, intelligence, and honor. And somewhere deep within, Lysera felt the first stirrings of a new understanding. Perhaps humans were not the monsters she had feared. Perhaps in time, she would see that courage and compassion were not bound to a single species. For now, though, she remained cautious. The galaxy was dangerous, the threat real, and the human warrior, Captain Joran, was still an unknown. But she could not deny the fact that he had already changed something within her. A small seed of trust, a flicker of hope, and a hint that the future might hold more than fear. The twin moons rose high above the crystal towers, casting gentle light over the palace gardens. Lysera stood among the glowing plants, thinking of the days to come. The human warrior would stay. He would train, and the fate of Zyrella might very well depend on him. But fear, she realized, was only the beginning. Courage, understanding, and perhaps even friendship would follow, and the galaxy would never be the same again.